This is BS. This is BS. Why are we here? I am going to call corporate.
Who the hell gave this guy a video camera? Welcome, I guess, into another edition of BSing with Big Nate. Good luck.
That was As Within, So Without, Like the Wind on another edition of BSing with Big Nate. First of all, this is becoming a tradition for Mitchell and I, and we're gonna have to pencil in the Christmas and New Year's shows because anytime there's a holiday around, As Within, So Without joins us. Joined today also by Lucas, and we're gonna talk about that track, the video, and what they've got going on. First of all, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Be here.
Okay, so we're gonna start because, of course, full disclosure. Every time I do these, I'm given a handy dandy press release and then the video, the track, and kind of dive into it. And this song really resonates, but the video also like really just kind of hits you right in the chest. And I want to start. I'm gonna do things a little backwards. Usually, I start with the track and then move to the video, but I want to start with the video this time, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there was a message kind of behind everything that's really captured within the confines of the video, it's kind of shot in what feels like just ultimately a dire situation, kind of a broken home type deal. So what was that like for you guys, trying to capture that?
A little stressful because we had to kind of figure out first where we were going to do it, because we wanted to do it in a house, but we didn't really have a ton of time to plan because we originally were going to just do 2 music videos for this album. And then while we were kind of like planning the release of like all the songs, we realized we wanted to do a music video for this one. So we pretty much have one last music video that we're sitting on that we're going to put out when the album comes out. But yeah, so yeah, it was really stressful figuring all that stuff out with like less than a month before when we were supposed to shoot. So ultimately we ended up just doing it at my house. And most of like the performance shots are kind of shot like around the house, obviously. And then the small like group stuff, we like literally did in my garage. We just hung plastic on the walls, took everything out. It was unreal for sure.
A task of a day.
Yeah. Yeah, because then like even too, like we bought like a bunch of like movers tarps and tried to put it like all over all the furniture and stuff. And that was stressful because like I remember the first time I went to go buy that stuff, I was like, oh man, is this like, am I gonna have enough here? And then so like the day before, my dad helped me kind of just like, put like basically just figure out like, okay, do we need to go buy more? And we were like, yeah. So we ended up going back and buying twice as much as we did the first time. And we're probably never going to use that stuff again. But yeah.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
I need it for the next video.
I mean, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Is kind of my motto when packing stuff. Like, so you kind of preempted my questions. I was going to ask whose house it was, but I do have to ask, as someone who's very anxious, and when people like come to visit, it's always like, man, I've got to like deep clean this shit and get everything exactly like perfect. Was that the case for you? I mean, obviously you're moving stuff out and putting tarps up.
Yeah, it was a little stressful because I mean, like my house is not like really big. It's pretty regular, I guess. But yeah, I mean, because we had our friend Anthony Barna, who played like the father figure in like the first like 40 seconds of the video, and then Matthew's girlfriend Taryn was playing like the mom. So we had those two there. We had Mitchell's son Cassidy there, and then we also had our video guy Ian there, and then plus my parents. So it was just kind of like, it was kind of crowded at some points. So if anything, that was the more stressful part, because usually my house is pretty clean, not to brag, but
I love that like your parents were so involved with getting this video out that's about such heavy content involving parental issues.
Yeah.
It's just like it's heavy content, and to a certain degree, does that help like your mentality going into it?
I mean, for me, it's nice because like, my parents are super supportive of like what I like to do. But I mean, I don't know, Mitchell, what would you say about that, if there's anything?
With your parents,
Yeah.
they're pretty much like the band mom and dad, because they try and be at like every single show. They support us with every single music video. And like literally anything we need, your dad helps us like load the trailer and stuff like that for whenever we have to go out. So I mean, like for them being so supportive, because like my parents are or like my mom is supportive of it, but like, she's not as hands-on as Luke's parents are. Like they come to the shows, they help us out in music videos and stuff like that. So it helps us have this like bigger family in the band instead of just the 4 of us. So it's a big uplifting thing for me. So
I mean, that's awesome to have that support and kind of that environment. I do want to talk about now kind of moving on from the video, which is fantastic. And anyone watching this needs to like pause now, go watch the video, and then come back to us. But now I kind of want to move into talking about the track. Following up the first single, this, I mean, it hits hard. This one to me, I got to be honest with you, I like it better. And I think maybe because it does resonate with me on like a personal level, and that's not to take away from the first single. This one, it is to me incredibly relatable. It's hard hitting, but it's also got something that I haven't heard in music in a long time with the sincerity and kind of the rawness. So what was it like putting this one together?
Super emotional. I remember, I think it was Luke and Matt got together and wrote the instrumental, and it was like a super duper rough, and like if you listen to the demo to what the instrumental is now, they're like night and day. They're like two different entities.
Yeah.
But when we were writing the whole song, you know, my brother Matthew really took like the reins on this one and wrote a lot of the lyrics. Just because, like, you know, this feeling of like absent parent is more fresh in his mind than it is for me. Because the way I grew up is I was born into a single parent household with me and my brother having our single mother. But Matthew, you know, when he was still like younger, he had our dad around, so he like the absent parent feeling is a little more fresh in his mind. And so when he took those lyrics and just ran with them, you could like feel the emotion that he put out. And then he came to me like maybe like 60% of the way through on lyrics and was like, hey, all right, I need some help on these. And me and him sat down and finished the whole lyrics. And it was like this big closure moment for us, where we're like, this is what we have been feeling. This is the song that like is telling our story. So I remember when we first went to record it, and I got into my car and like was driving and listening to it, like I cried, because it was like that emotional feeling of like, yeah, this is the situation we were in. This is how we were feeling, and now it's like in our art form. It's like how we wanted to portray the emotion, and it like helped us in that journey of finding peace with our past.
So, I mean, obviously, like as you mentioned, it was fresher for him. It was rawer for him because he didn't grow up always knowing that single parent lifestyle. So, for you, was there any sort of like eye-opening, you know, holy shit, this is what he's been dealing with?
Yeah, because I actually had the conversation with him while we were doing the whole song, where because you know, like for me, like technically for both of us, at a certain age, our dad did try to come back around, but for me, it was a little more like I was already out the door. Like I was used to having my mother, I'm a mama's boy, whatever. But my brother was so used to having our dad call him every birthday, call him every holiday. And like 6-7 years ago, it just stopped. And I visibly could see the downward spiral of that feeling. And so, you know, we talked about it. He was like, yeah, he got to that point where he was where I was. We were like in the same boat at that point. So it was like this eye-opening feeling of like, yeah, I couldn't understand how he was feeling in the beginning, but now he understands how I am. And so we kind of like met in a common ground at the end of this whole situation. And it kind of brought us together, saying like, yeah, so we are in the same place. It's not like, oh, he is in one realm of emotion and I'm in another. Now we're both in this common ground where we are feeling the same thing. We're going through the same process.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of power behind this, and like I said, this track kind of resonates and it hits you personal. It's very relatable to a certain set of people. Do you feel like, you know, kind of when you guys brought the lyrics to the rest of the band, that there was like a strong feeling of support? I mean, not that I get the impression that Lucas or Matt are huge assholes. That's quite the opposite. But like, what was that like, you know, bringing it to them?
So it was kind of really cool because had the instrumental side of this song done on their own. But when they handed me and Matthew the song, they said, "This is your song. You guys are going to make this what you guys want it to be." Because it is technically about our childhood, and like what the emotions that we went through. So like you could, if Matt was here, he could tell you, like, yeah, every single time he'd be like, "Hey, I'm just here for the ride. This is your story." And so that was like the like that open arms feeling of like Luke and Matt were like, "This is the two of you. This is your journey. You guys are gonna portray the emotion you guys felt, and that's how that's how the story's gonna go."
So now I kind of want to direct this towards Luke a little bit. When someone kind of shows you that content, like how do you feel like you've kind of got to really absorb it? Like, what's the impact on you as a musician?
Well, I mean, to go back on what you were saying on how this song just feels like super genuine. That was something like when once I read all the lyrics, like, and I kind of internalized it, like I felt that same kind of like feeling too. And it's definitely something, like, I definitely feel like it's the most genuine song that we've put out so far. But I also feel like this song, particularly like lyrically, kind of opened kind of like changed stuff for us, because then I feel like right around the time that they finished this song, then like we really kind of started to experiment with like just like where we could take our lyrics and stuff like that, because yeah. I just lost my train of thought. Wow. But yeah, I mean, definitely like that's something that we always try to make sure that we hit, is just like, you know, does this sound genuine? Like, is this us? So yeah.
No, I think everything came out beautifully, and I think there's something that catharsis, if you will. There's a lot of release for a lot of people in this song, and I think everything came out really great. And problem is now the bar set really, really, really damn high. And next single, what's the word? When do we have a new single, or are we just gonna let it drop with the album?
So yeah, we're gonna kind of we're not gonna be dropping another single from the album. We're just gonna kind of wait for it to come out. But we've got some stuff that we're working on to kind of, you know, get us through the holidays. Like, you know, you're gonna be the first person that we're telling this to. So we want to start kind of trying to do like a podcast. We've been kind of filming some episodes, and we want to have some guests on. Playthroughs, drum playthroughs, guitar playthroughs, even vocal stuff. So like Matthew's actually coming over here today, and we're going to be recording a bunch of content stuff. So
do we have a timeline on when that's going to be releasing, and where they'll be able to find it?
The podcast, or just so yeah, so we are, every time that we get together and we do a podcast, we film it. So we're probably going to put it on our YouTube. Because just like building our YouTube channel has kind of been a big thing on our minds lately, because, you know, we've got a decent amount of listeners on Spotify. We've got a pretty good amount of followers on Spotify. So we're kind of just like, well, YouTube's next. As far as like, you know, full guitar playthroughs, drum playthroughs, all that stuff, that'll probably as well go up on our YouTube. But back to the podcast, we are going to try and put like just the audio version of that on our Spotify as well. So Yeah. A lot
That's
of stuff.
exciting stuff. I mean, that's a lot to do. I mean, I guess now, like, I don't know how it works for you guys, but right now is the time of year where I kind of always like, oh hell, the next year's coming. I got to get all these things done off my list, and I start like getting super productive, which is weird because like the days are getting shorter, and it's just a weird like captivating nightmare. It's like sun's
Yeah.
gone down. I've done jack shit today. I got to really
That's-
cruise on this.
That's the real indicators. Once the sun goes down at like 4:30, it's like, oh no.
Yep.
It feels so much later too.
Well-
the sun going down so much earlier in the day has been messing up everybody. I'll be at work or something. It'll be 4:30, and it feels like it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's depressing as hell. I'm not a fan of it. I think well, I also think the whole daylight saving thing is a scam, and we need to like. I always said like if I was gonna run for any like, elected office, that would be my sole platform.
What's so funny is that so my family's from Brazil, and in Brazil they don't do daylight saving and stuff like that anymore. It's just regular time all year.
Well, also, I
works
mean,
out.
depending on what part of Brazil they're in, the sun doesn't like set near as early.
Yeah, I mean, if you're close to the equator, it's like if you're farther northern Brazil, or sorry, like probably like towards the northern middle of Brazil, the sun is like up till 8 o'clock,
No.
like 7, 8 o'clock. So
I don't like that.
I don't
and,
know if
you
we can get like a bunch of mirrors or what, but we need to find a way to redirect. Like 4:30 is not working for me.
No, it's not. You know, I think it's just this whole daylight saving hoax. You know, we don't need it.
It's just a
You know,
long
they say it's for the farmers.
So I actually know a farmer. Granted, he's around my age, so he's not that old. But I've asked him, like, does daylight saving time help at all? And he said, no, not at all, a little bit.
Doesn't do anything.
Now, when it was introduced, maybe it did. I have no evidence to that. But my anecdotal evidence based on that one farmer I know is that, in fact, it's no benefit.
That's nothing for you.
And that's enough data for me to collect. I'm done with it. So, of course, the album release also coming up. Believe the date was in January.
Yeah.
January 12th.
Okay, so we're still on pace. January 12th, as within, so without. It's going to be pretty killer. I'm stoked to look forward to it. Of course, podcasts, drum playthroughs, guitar playthroughs. Is there any chance of some vocal playthroughs and teaching us how to sing the songs?
You know, me and Luke were talking about it. We're kind of talking through it right now, seeing what we're gonna do with it. No promises yet. It's something that's in the air right now. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Very, very excited for what's on the horizon. As within, so out, so without. Of course, Like the Wind, out now. Check out the video, please, and follow them on YouTube. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, man.
Really appreciate it.
All right, take care.